Yo, this is for my brother Albert, one of my subscribers. I appreciate you for posting in the Q&A. Mad love, mad respect, my brother.
That's why I named my channel Question Everything. If everything that we learned is a lie, that's automatic that we have to question everything that was told to us, you know what I'm saying?
There's absolutely no way they will know for a fact that there was already slaves in Africa, mind you, a place that they never been before, to prepare and build all those ships and also create all those shackles for over 1 million slaves. Now, when we dive deep into the situation, you have to ask yourself logically, how did they have the technology to build ships of that magnitude, that size? How? It's obviously that these people that are putting the information out there, either one, don't know what the heck they're talking about, or two, they're purposely feeding us misinformation. Now again, if you've never been to a place before, one, you do not know what's there. You don't know if there's resources, let alone if there's human life there. So to have ships already prepared of that size and have shackles already created to enslave a whole society of people, I find it ludicrous. Who built all the boats that sail to Africa? Now, this is another pretty good question. Who built them? I think logically, the story itself is a fallacy. Um, Now you would have to think about proving that they even had the technology to even build such massive boats, let alone build that many boats. You have to think about it. How many boats you will have to build and how big these boats will have to be to carry such a large amount of people. Now, you also have to keep in mind that if we use the Titanic and we use the boats that they claim that they was building back in those days, as a side-by-side comparison, the Titanic was able to hold thousands of people on it, right? It also had a motor or a propeller, and it still was only able to travel between, if I'm not mistaken, 20 or 30 miles per hour. Imagine how fast a boat without a propeller would travel. We're talking about sailing versus a motor. So now we have to look at the simple fact that one, is impossible to prove that they even had the technology to build boats of that size. Number two, they didn't have the technology to actually build a boat that can house that many people at one time. You got to think about how they feed them. How long, and then you have to think about how long it would have took from them to get to point A to point B. If they're going slower than 20 miles per hour, it would have took months for them to make only one voyage. So we have to think about these things logically and not let our emotions get wrapped up into it and we just go with the flow just because it makes sense to them. Were the boats built in Africa, or did the Europeans sell hundreds of empty boats to Africa? Well, I'm gonna do something special for this answer in particular. I'm gonna do it. Both ways, pretty much. I'm gonna break it down as if we're talking about, did they bring hundreds of empty boats to Africa or vice versa? Now, logically, it wouldn't work either way. They have no explanation for this, and I think that one of the main reasons why they cannot explain this is because, again, the story in itself is fugazi. I mean, it's fabricated. They made this story up for one particular reason, and that's to indoctrinate people. Regardless of what culture you belong to, this same information is being spread out amongst all cultures and have everybody believing in the same thing. It will have a different effect on each culture, but it'll have a direct effect on the culture that they're particularly talking about. That's just like when they stereotype certain cultures and individuals and things of that nature. It has a direct impact on the person or culture that they're talking about, and everybody else is brainwashed to believe it, and they live life and they talk down on those who they believe that the information is true about. So I'm gonna just start by saying this here. Logically, it wouldn't make sense to even build that many boats, and then they're empty, because again, they don't have the scientific knowledge to construct something that large. There's no evidence that they did, and then you have to think about the reasoning behind if why we want somebody would do that. That's like me. Let's say, for an example, I go out, I gather all the wood that I can find, and I'm gonna build this a boat the size of a football field. And in my mind, I'm going to travel to lands I've never been before, try to discover some new land. But I'm gonna go there for the sole purpose of bringing people and putting them on a boat when I don't even know where I'm going, and I don't even know if there's people there. So what is the point? You understand what I'm saying? So it doesn't make sense to me that people will wake up one day, or civilization will wake up one day and say, hey, let's build a whole fleet of boats and let's go out there to some lands we've never been before, and we're gonna just put a whole bunch of people on it, and then we're gonna bring them back and enslave them. It truly doesn't make any logical sense, and that's why I do not buy any of this, and I pretty much question everything that especially mainstream try to put out. So the question was, did they have smaller boats and they put the slaves on them, or did the slaves have to swim to board the boats, the ships? And I think that's another good question as well. Again, when you start thinking about these situations logically, it's impossible. It makes no sense. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that they didn't have smaller boats, or they because if they did, you can only put like 2 or 3 slaves on that boat at a time, and then you have to send them out there to the ship. Just that alone would be time consuming. We're talking millions of slaves that they claim that they put on ships, and they travel 5 to 10 miles per hour, if that, from Africa to America. So me personally, I would tell you just like this here. Nope, they didn't do neither, because the story itself is not real. I mean, what we have on record right now, and what we can prove right now, is that this earth was diverse and always was diverse. So yeah, to me, it's just ludicrous to even think that these people was doing that. These slaves or these Africans was getting on little ships, or little boats, traveling, and then get on the big ship, and they was doing it constantly. I mean, how long you think it would take to just fill up one ship? So, no. The answer is no.
Nova orders the quorum. A new order.
We are interested in working with private companies.
For the centuries, for the ages, forever.
Bring this testing capacity to scale.